Big help?
But the thing is that for a long, long time she was not with us.
How come? Why? Hare Krishna. I'd like to welcome everybody to Sri Sri Radha Govinda Mandir, especially Mother Indira and her family, in honor of her parents. She's kindly hosting this reading, and here we are in the presence of beautiful Sri Sri Radha Govinda, whom Indira and family have served for, I think, 2 to 3 decades. So it must be 3 decades now, from what I've heard and understood. So we're very pleased to be able to offer this reading, the Nikunjbihari, reading the scripture in front of Radha Govinda, in front of our Guru Parampara, in front of Srila Prabhupada. It's a very special opportunity. We all understand the benefits. Everyone who's been here serving Radha Govinda knows the potency of Radha Govinda, how they flooded New York City since 1972 with love of Krishna. So before Nikunjbihari starts, we just want to again thank Mother Indira for sponsoring the reading, and to welcome everyone who's tuning in, and to remind everyone that Rath Yatra is coming. Please set your calendars, so that will be June 12th, 12 noon, at 5th Avenue and 45th Street, and then at Washington Square Park simultaneously. Festival of India will be present. They'll have all their tents set up. All the booths will be there. It'll be a wonderful time for all. Everyone can come out with their families and friends. There'll be quite a few dignitaries attending, Consul General of India, etc., Permanent Mission to UN Council. So, yeah, it'll be a good time for all. And Nikunjbihari, what are you reading today? Srimad Bhagavatam?
No,
Gita. This is a Gita reading. Okay? Interesting. Srila Prabhupada told us, Srimad Bhagavatam and Chaitanya Charitamrita in the morning, Bhagavad Gita and Nectar Devotion at night. So very appropriate. So without further ado, the Nikunjbihari Prabhu will take the seat of honor and give everyone special insight into Bhagavad Gita as it is. Hare Krishna. All glory to Srila Prabhupada.
Hare Krishna.
Jai Shri Sri Radha Govinda. What a beautiful outfit too, huh?
Shri Radha Govinda name.
Ki Jai.
Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Ram, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. So let us start this wonderful program sponsored by Indira Mataji in the memory of her parents. They have beautiful names, Giridhari
Very nice name.
and Godavari. So we'll be chanting Jai Radha Madhav Kunj Bihari Gopi Jana Vallabh Girivardhari Jashoda Nandana Vraja Jana Ranjana Jamuna Tira Vanachari. So if you are home and if you are Kartal or Mudanga or whichever way you want to join the Kirtan, please do that. Also, pretty soon, in half an hour, we will be offering prasadam to Sri Sri Radha Govinda on behalf of Indira Singh family. Also, 6 o'clock, we will be offering the Aarti to Sri Sri Radha Govinda on behalf of this particular family. And if you are home, you can do it mansik, means in your mind. But if you have real paraphernalia with you, like incense, ghee lamp, flower, water, conch shell, chamar, etc., then you can also look at the pujari and repeat what she is doing and offer ararti to Sri Sri Radha Govinda. So because what it is that Sri Sri Radha Govinda belong here, but we have asked them to come to your place today for this particular program. So now they are visiting you, and since they are visiting you, you should be offering them something and even in your mind, whatever you can. So please try to do that, and we'll be chanting Jai Radha Madhav Kunjbihari. Jai Radha Madhav Kunjbihari, Jai Radha Madhav Kunjbihari, Gopijan Vallabha Girivaridhari, Gopijan Vallabha Girivaridhari, Jashodanandan Vrajjan Ranjan, Jashodanandan Vrajjan Ranjan, Jamuna Tira Vanachari, Jamuna Tira Vanachari, Jaya Radha Madhava Kunjbihari, Jaya Radha Madhava Kunjbihari. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Jaya Prabhupada, 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 Jaya Prabhupada, 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 Jaya Jaya Prabhupada. Namo Vishnupada Paramhans Parivrajagacharya Stoltra Sada Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada ki jai, Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Goswami Maharaj ki jai, Ananda Koti Vaishnava Vrund ki jai, Namacharya Haridas Thakur ki jai, Prem se kaho Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda, Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasati Gaur Bhaktivinoda ki jai, Antarvip Mayapur Dham ki jai, Vrindavan Dham ki jai, Tulsi Devi ki jai, Bhakti Devi ki jai, Samaved Bhaktivinoda ki jai, Gaur Premanandi. All good is to assemble devotees, all good is to assemble devotees, all good is to assemble devotees, all good is to Sri Guru and Gauranga. So just look at Shri Radha Govinda, they look so beautiful today. So, without further delay, let's start praying to the whole Guru Parampara, so that we want this whole family to be very happy and prosperous. Om Ajnana Timirandasya Gnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Mena Tasmai Shri Guruve Namah Shri Chaitanya Manobishtam Sthapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamayam Dadati Swapadantikam. I was born in the darkest ignorance, and my spiritual master opened my eyes with the torch of knowledge. I offer my respectful obeisances unto him. When will Srila Rupa Goswami Prabhupada, who has established within this material world the mission to fulfill the desire of Lord Chaitanya, give me shelter under his lotus feet? Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Utpadakamanam Shri Gurun Vaishnavanscha Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sagana Raghunathanvitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadhutam Parijan Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padan Sagana Lalita Shri Vishakhanvitanscha. I offer my respectful obeisances unto the lotus feet of my spiritual master and unto the feet of all Vaishnavas. I offer my respectful obeisances unto the lotus feet of Srila Rupa Goswami, along with his elder brother, Sanatan Goswami, as well as Raghunath Das and Raghunath Bhatta, Gopal Bhatta and Srila Jiva Goswami. I offer my respectful obeisances to Lord Krishna Chaitanya and Lord Nityananda, along with Advait Acharya, Gadadhar, Srivas and other associates. I offer my respectful obeisances to Srimati Radharani and Shri Krishna, along with their associates, Shri Lalita and Vishaka. Hey Krishna, Karuna Sindhu, Deen Bandho Jagatpate, Gopesh Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostute. O my dear Krishna, ocean of mercy, you are the friend of the distressed and the souls of creation. You are the master of cowherd man and the lover of gopis, especially Srimati Radharani. I offer my respectful obeisances unto you. Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi, Radhe Vrindavaneshwari, Vrishabhanu Sute Devi Pranamami Hari Priya. I offer my respectful obeisances to Srimati Radharani, whose bodily complexion is like molten gold and who is queen of Vrindavan. You are the daughter of King Vrishabhanu and you are very dear to Lord Krishna. Vancha kalpatarubhyascha krupa sindhubhya evacha patitanam pavanebhyo vaishnavebhyo namo namah. I offer my respectful obeisances unto all the Vaishnava devotees of the Lord. They can fulfill the desires of everyone, just like desired trees, and they are full of compassion for the fallen souls. Shri Krishna Chaitanya, Prabhu Nityananda, Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasiddhi Gaur Bhakta Vrunda. I offer my obeisances to Shri Krishna Chaitanya, Prabhu Nityananda, Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivas and all others in the line of devotion. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. So, today's verse is from chapter number 6 and verse number 34. This is known as a Dhyana Yoga. Chanchalam hi manah Krishna pramati balvadradam tasyaham nigraham manye vayoriva dushkuram. Chanchalam hi manah Krishna pramati balvadradam tasyaham nigraham manye Vayoriva dushkaram. The mind is restless, turbulent, obstinate, and very strong, O Krishna. And to subdue it, I think, is more difficult than controlling the wind. Once again, Srila Prabhupada's translation: the mind is restless, turbulent, obstinate, and very strong, O Krishna. And to subdue it, I think, is more difficult than controlling the wind. Purport by His Divine Grace Srila Prabhupada. The mind is so strong and obstinate that it sometimes overcomes the intelligence. Although the mind is supposed to be subservient to the intelligence, for a man in the practical world who has to fight so many opposing elements, it is certainly very difficult to control the mind. Artificially, one may establish a mental equilibrium towards both friend and enemy, but ultimately no worldly man can do so. For this is more difficult than controlling the raging wind. In the Vedic literature, Upanishad, it is said, Atmanam Rahitanam Viddhi Shariranam Rasam Evacha. So, here in this particular Katha Upanishad, the body is compared to the chariot. While talking about chariot, Rath Yatra is coming, and you know Lord Jagannath is riding on the chariot. Instead of the horses and the reins that people hold, Jagannath is actually taken care by the people, by the devotees. They are the one who actually pulling the ropes and let the chariot work on Fifth Avenue. But when you see this particular picture in Bhagavad Gita, Lord Krishna is in the chariot driver, Arjuna is as a driver, and you see the beautiful horses. So, body is compared to that kind of chariot. So it says, the individual is the passenger. So those people who are sitting there in the chariot, they are individual is the passenger in the car of the material body, right? And intelligence is the driver. Mind is the driving instrument. And the senses are the horses. The self is thus the employer or suffering, enjoyer or the sufferer in the association of the mind and senses. So, it is understood by great thinkers. Intelligence is supposed to direct the mind, but the mind is so strong and obstinate that it often overcomes even one's own intelligence, as an acute infection may surpass the efficacy of the medicine. Such a strong mind is supposed to be controlled by the practice of yoga. But such practice is never practical for a worldly person like Arjuna. And what can we say of modern man? The simile used here is appropriate. One cannot capture the blowing wind, and it is even more difficult to capture the turbulent mind. The easiest way to control the mind, as suggested by Lord Chaitanya, is chanting Hare Krishna, the great mantra for deliverance in all humanity. The method prescribed is Savai Manaha Krishna Padarvindaha. One must engage one's mind fully in Krishna. Only then will there remain no one engaged to agitate the mind. So, otherwise your mind will be agitated. That's why you have to focus on the lotus feet of the Lord, and mind will automatically come under the control. So, these are the very beautiful readings that we are doing. And Srila Prabhupada has trained us in such a way that what we just talked about, the turbulence of the winds or the extreme case of fire or flood like water, nothing can touch us, right? Why? Because this is how Srila Prabhupada tried to design devotee's life. As you see, maybe you also have right now in your home tilak. It's very important. Srila Prabhupada said, whether you know its importance or no, you must do that. Now this is a training. You have to have faith in the words of Srila Prabhupada. Srila Prabhupada, he quotes from the scriptures, and he says, Lalate Keshavam Dhyayena Narayanam Athodare. Vakshasthale Madhavam tu Govindam Kantakupake. Vishtum cha Dakshine Kuksho. Baho cha Madhusudanam. Trivikram Kandaretu. Vamanam Vama Parshuke. Sridharam Vama Bahyotu. Rushikesham cha Kandare. Prustestu Padmanabam cha. Katyam Damodaram Nyaseta. So, devotees are asked to take a bath, which is very healthy for the body. If you can take 3 times a day, that would be great, because you have to chant the Gayatri mantra 3 times a day. First thing in the morning, at noon time, and in the evening. So most of the devotees end up doing that. Before Mangalarti, when they come, they take a bath, put the tilak. When they come for the Rajavogarti, they take a bath, put the tilak. In the evening, right, we are going to have this Gaura Arti, Sandhya Arti. People will take the bath, put the tilak, and come for darshan of Shri Shri Radha Govinda. And this tilak that you see here and here, you can see, rest of the tilak you cannot see in the body. But there are 12 places where we put this tilak all over the body. What are there? Forehead, chest, right side, right shoulder, left hand, upper back, stomach, neck, right hand, left side, left shoulder, and lower back. All these places we have to apply this Gopi Chintan. Now, we can go in details and read about the importance of it, no problem. But I am a registered priest and I have done so many kind of pujas and ceremonies, sacraments. One of them is when a person leaves this body, then we have to pray for that particular soul. And when we do the sankalpa, the resolution in our heart as a priest, what we do, that we are asking Krishna that this particular person is well equipped as a devotee. So, how do you say he is well equipped? So, we say he has a neck beads. Even if the person is not initiated, we put the neck beads on the neck of the person who is demised. We put the tilak, all the 12 places, by chanting this mantra. We put a Ganges water in his mouth. We put Tulsi Patra in the mouth. So, in Sanskrit, Om Srimad Bhagavato Mahapurushasya Vishnu Ragnya, whatever the words are, we say Kanti Rahita. He is not without the neck beads. Ganga Jal Rahita. He is not without Ganges water. Tulsi Patra Rahita. He is not without Tulsi Patra. Gopi Chandana Tilaka Rahita. He is not without the tilak. Plus the Brahmanical thread, the chadar and the dhoti, we dress him up in a devotee way. And he leaves this world in that fashion. So, it has importance because he will not wander around the world like in jeans and tie or suit and all that kind of thing. As soon as Krishna sees, he says, oh, that's my devotee. He's coming from Radha Govinda temple. Oh, that's Prabhupada's disciple. Right away he will honor him. He may not honor other people because Krishna has a personal, some spot in his heart for his own devotees. So, he will be honored even in the heavens. So, in order to make you believe that, in Garga Samhita, There is a story that there was a king in Sindh Pradesh, right on the northern part of India, little left to Himalayas. There is a Sindh, and in that particular Sindh Desh, there was a king. He was young, he was in power, the whole country belonged to him, but he was not a devotee. He just wanted to enjoy. So he will ask his people, go to this particular area, that's where Shudras are living. Kill their man, just a man, and bring their daughters and wives here. I want to enjoy. Go to that area. Brahmins are living in that posh area. Kill the man, bring the daughters and wife to me. I want to enjoy them. So this way, that's all he used to do. Killing his own citizens and enjoying the females. So some of the people, they approach the guard of the king. And he says, king is a very sinful person. And you are protecting him. So whatever sins he is doing, you are also considered as a sinful person. Unless you check him, unless you stop him, kill him, or whatever you want to do. If you kill him, we will make you king. But this is not right for any king to do this to their citizens. So it is said that the guard talked to the king, let's go and have a little fun. And he took him to some river and he took a bath. And while he was coming, the guard was hiding his sword under the sand. All of a sudden he pulled out his sword and cut the head of this particular king. His head fell in the mud. His body also fell in the mud. Now, immediately the Yamadutas, they came, the death personification people. They took charge of him, and then they took him upstairs. And they presented to Yamaraja, and Yamaraja looked into the files and he says, this is terrible. We have to fry his body in a kumbhak. Kumbhak is like 8,000 miles area, a big pot full of oil and burning. And this kind of sinful people, they bring and throw them in that pot and deep fry their body. It's a lot of pain, and this ultimate punishment that one can have is go to kumbhak. So they took him there, and they threw his body in the burning, boiling oil. Now this particular king, his body, as soon as he touched the oil got very cold. This boiling oil got very cold, just like a ghee. When you touch this, clarified butter, it's very soft. And even if your finger is burnt, it gives you some soothing effect. It is that cold. So that part of the oil, boiling oil, became ghee and started soothing the body of this king. And these people who were working for Yamaraja got surprised, and they say, wow, this is like throwing a ice cube in a water, nothing is happening. So they went back and they say, well, we saw something amazing. The oil will not touch the body of this particular king. So they say only Maharishi Vedvyas, he can answer this question, because it never happened that someone thrown in the kumbhak and never burned. So Maharishi Vedvyas looking in a trance, and he sees that the body of this particular king was cut, his head was cut, fell in the mud, body fell in the mud. And he says, luckily, the king body fell in the Gopi Chandan. That particular area there was Gopi Chandan, means kind of clay that we are using. This is the mud, this is a clay. So all over his body, there was Gopi Chandan, like the forehead, the chest, the right side, the right shoulder, left hand, upper back, stomach, neck, right hand, left side, left shoulder, lower back, everywhere, the boiling oil could see that this is a devotee. This is not the ordinary body. He has this tilak mark all over. They didn't realize that when the body was cut, it just fell into Gopi Chandan, in the clay. And that's why he was saved. Just imagine, Srila Prabhupada has given us thousands of things like that we could be saved, no matter what kind of sinful activity we have committed. It does not mean that we have to also act like the king of Sindh and enjoy ourselves and kill the people, right? No, that's not the message. The message is that even if it's so much condemned activity, we can be saved by following simple instructions of Srila Prabhupada. So far as this particular verse go, there are so many, examples available. And all this happens is because of our senses. Our senses are actually responsible, and they make us commit all these kind of things. So we have to be very careful when we look at something. Sangat sanjayate kama. When we look at something, we like it. Sanjayate kama, the kamana, the desires inside, only thing we ask, I want this, because we saw that. In New York City is very common. People walk on the sidewalk, all of a sudden they see something on the glass, and the window shopping starts in your mind. I like the sari. I like that earrings. I like the bangles, right? Or sweets, or any other item that you would like. Everything is available on the windows. And the mind is collecting that. Sangat sanjayate kama, kamat krodham abhijayate. And if you ask your wife, and she says, no, you don't need that. Or if you ask, the wife asks the husband, and he says, oh, you have many saris, you don't need the sari. Then what happened? She gets angry. Kamat krodham abhijayate. Krodham means angry. And the tussle starts between those husband and wife. Krodhat bhavati sammoha. You may express the anger, you may not express. But then eventually, just like if you leave a milk outside, right, do not put it in the refrigerator, it will turn into a yogurt. So similarly, that anger turns into the illusion. Krodhat bhavati sammoha. sammohat buddhinashaha. And once you are deluged, then what happens? Your intelligence is lost. And once your intelligence is lost, you're spiritually dead, sometimes physically dead, whatever happens. But that is a very serious matter that we go through just by looking at it. Same thing happens when we listen something. Same thing happens when we speak something. Same thing happens when we taste something. Same thing happens when we touch something. So all these senses, and I will give the example that we had a Srimad Bhagavatam, this morning only we were reading, and Saubhari Muni was a sage. 60,000 years he stayed in the waters of Yamuna. So cold. 60,000 years, a long time also. He meditated. And Krishna almost decided to see him. But then what happened? That he saw two fish in front of him because he was in the water. And they started playing, hugging one another. And whatever way they were enjoying, in mind of this particular sage, Saubhari Muni, he decided to get a companion. What am I doing here alone? I need to marry. So he came out, and there was a king named Mandhata, and he had 50 daughters. So in Srimad Bhagavatam he says, he got married with 50 daughters, and then he put all this spiritual life aside. So he could enjoy his life, but never made it in his spiritual life. Same thing. By testing also, you may come across this kind of disaster. Bhishma Pitamaha, just few days before the war, was so respectable person. And all of a sudden when time of war came, and when he said that I am on side of Duryodhana, people could not believe what happened to such a great person. So the story is like this. Duryodhana was worried that he is such a righteous person. He will never leave Pandavas, and he will always prefer to be on that side. How to bring him on this side? So he consulted Karna, and he says, very difficult. It's like if you cut person's hands and legs and ask him to go on the top of the Himalayas, he will never make it. So there is nothing in this particular world which can convince Bhishma Pitamaha. You cannot give him a biggest position and say, okay, guy is convinced, because position is something that, person would like to have. Once he gets, he will get convinced. He will do some favor to you, right? If you give him a woman, anybody, provide a woman, and the person is convinced because that satisfied his needs. If you give some kind of wealth, he can be also doing the favor to you. But Bhishma Pitama cannot be bought in that way. So Karna washed his hands. But Shakuni was a very shrewd person. And Shakuni says, I have an idea. If Bhishma Pita is provided with food which is touched by sinful people, his intelligence will get spoiled right away, and he will not be able to judge what is right and what is wrong. Because that contaminated food touched by the sinful people will contaminate his intelligence altogether. And it's like when you drink, you forget where you put your feet, where you walk, what you talk, what you see, right? You lose your balance altogether. So he said, how to do that? It's a very simple. He said, Duryodhana, you serve the food to Bhishma Pitamaha just for 8 days and then see what happens. And this is in Mahabharata. And before the war, Duryodhana went to Bhishma Pitama and he says, my wife, Bhanumati, she asked me that you have grandfather and you don't never serve him. You should serve him. At least do little service like serving food. You can do that. It's very easy. So she said, it's not my idea, but women, they usually care for the elderly people. That's why she told me that I should come to you and serve the food. So when food was prepared, Duryodhana started serving to Bhishma Pitama. And Bhishma Pitama liked that. When the children are doing some service, the grandfather always loves that. So 8 days, Bhishma Pitama, Mahabharata says, he ate the food served by Duryodhana, who was the most sinful person on this earth. And that is why, after 8 days, when Duryodhana say, Pitama, the war is coming, and Bhishma Pitama says, this body is yours. If I live, I will live for Duryodhana. If I die, I will die for Duryodhana. Do not worry. He was not speaking that. The food, the poison which went inside his stomach, that was speaking. And finally he took side of Kauravas. So this is the thing, that our senses has to be like that. One time, Narada Muni, he went to Shilanidhi king palace, and this king Shilanidhi had a daughter. And naturally, when the devotee or some saintly person or Swami comes to your place, you bring your children out and ask them to touch their feet, get their blessings. So Narada Muni went to the Shilanidhi's palace, and Shilanidhi right away said, please be seated. Here is my daughter. Her name is Vishwamohini. And he asked the daughter, touch his feet. And he asked Narada Muni to put his hand on over the head of Vishwamohini. So this was, there was an exchange of touch between Vishwamohini, who was the most beautiful person, and Narada Muni saw. And next thing, he decided that I should have this woman as my wife. But Narada Muni thought that if I go like this, she will still see me as a devotee, as a saintly person, and she won't accept me. Actually, I need form of Lord Vishnu. If I look like Vishnu, if I look like Krishna, then she will accept me. So he went to Vishnu Lok and he convinced Lord Vishnu that I need your help. So what kind of help? He says, I need your Rupa, Hari Rupa. Hari, he is addressing him as a Hari, and the Rupa means the beauty of Hari. Now, in Sanskrit, it is a very tricky, intricate language. There are so many meanings about one word. So Hari also means a monkey. And Rup means form. So Vishnu, although he knew that he is after no good, this little girl, who is bending down and touching his feet, how can he ask her to marry? So he wanted to discourage him, but because he came to him and asked for his help, Lord Vishnu says, okay, I will give you the Hari Rupa. And when there was a swayamvar, when so many kings came to be in the swayamvar so that the girl will come out and garland them, select as a husband, there was big competition. Narad Muni also went there in a Hari Rupa. And he was very happy that he was all dressed up like Vishnu. Only thing what he didn't realize, that Hari Rupa, Lord Vishnu gave him a face of a monkey. So beautiful monkey, but after all a monkey, and there is a difference between a man's face and a monkey's face. So naturally people were laughing at him, but he didn't realize that he has a monkey face, because he could not see himself, his own face. So he went to the swayamvar, and Vishwamohini came out with the garland, and she just passed by him without even looking, because he had a monkey face. And he asked the person next to him, and he says, I think we are insulted. She just passed by, and she's going to go to that crowd where less intelligent and less beautiful are there. So the person says, my dear sir, if you don't mind, I would suggest that there is a pond, water pond, and you go and look your face in their water pond. So Naradji went there, looked into the water fountain, and he found he has a monkey face. So this is a story in a Srimad Bhagavatam, that even a touch can always pollute your intelligence. There is another story about son of Bali Maharaj. His name was Sahasik, and he had a girlfriend named Tilottama. So one time Durvasa Muni, he decided that I must worship. So for 10,000 years he was sitting at a one place in a one position, right? Thinking about Lord only. And ultimately what happened, that nobody could see his body anymore in 10,000 years, all kind of dust and the pollen, the leaves, anything that's flying in the air will settle on his body. And it became like a big plinth. And it was very hard to see that there is something underneath this. But the tree was very beautiful above him. So this person, Sahasik, and his girlfriend, Tilottama, Apsara, celestial lady, they came and they sat on it. Not only that sat on it, but they started talking about some romantic stories, started laughing, making one another, hugging and acting abnormally. So his meditation was disturbed. Prabhupada says, Dhyana avasthita tadgatena manasa pashyantiyam yogino. The yogi actually, he sees the form of Krishna when he is trying to meditate, and he is focused. But because of behavior of this boy and a girl sitting on top of him, his intelligence got polluted. He started listening to the songs that they were singing. He started listening to the love stories that they were exchanging. And all kind of nonsense that they were doing, he was tolerating. And at the same time, while meditating, he was enjoying. And then he realized, oh my God, 10,000 years I've been meditating, and now it's all spoiled. So all of a sudden, he woke up, and that couple fell down because it was all dust, mud on the body. And Durvasa Muni says, since you have disturbed my meditation, I curse you. You were behaving like a donkey. So in real life, I want you to become a donkey and fall on the earth. So, in Bhagavatam in 10th canto, one of the form of the Asura, the Rakshasas, demons, is a form of a donkey. And donkey comes to Vrindavan and then is trying to harass Krishna Balaram. At that time he got killed and was salvaged, got liberation because God killed him. But this is a story behind that Aristasur story, that Durvasa Muni had cursed him. But then Durvasa Muni thought, well, I wasted my 10,000 years, but now I must marry, because that was the cause why I had to go through all these things. I think I need a woman. So he looked for a woman. But you know,